seize your own throne. Machiavelli's dark strategy. They will never hand you the throne. Power is never given, it is taken. Not by rage, not by force, but by understanding what most people refuse to face. That no one will save you from the chaos of life but your own mind. You were born into a world that trains you to obey, to wait, to ask for permission, to seek validation from systems, faces, and voices that don't even see you. But the moment you stop waiting, the moment you decide to seize your own throne, everything begins to shift. The air becomes heavier, the silence deeper, because power always begins in silence. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something humanity keeps forgetting. That greatness is not inherited, it is claimed through inner strategy. To rule the outer world, you must first govern the invisible one, the battlefield within. Before crowns, before riches, before influence, there is mastery of the self. Machiavelli's dark strategy was never about manipulation for its own sake. It was about control, starting with the control of one's own nature. To command others, you must first command your impulses, your emotions, your need to be liked. He taught that the true throne is not made of gold or marble. It is built in the shadows of your mind, brick by brick, with self-discipline and cold clarity. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people are terrified of that kind of power. They prefer comfort to command, approval to authority. They fear the solitude that leadership demands. And so they become pawns, reactive, emotional, easily moved by the opinions of others. The tragedy of modern life is not that we lack opportunities, it's that we've forgotten how to seize them. We wait for the world to open its gates, forgetting that Machiavelli's world was one of locked doors and invisible traps, where only those who dared to act could rise. The same is true today. In this video, we will go deep into Machiavelli's hidden philosophy of self-sovereignty. You'll discover why taking your own throne is not arrogance, it is alignment. Why detachment, control, and strategic silence can transform you from a follower into a force. We'll uncover the dark but sacred psychology of decision, power, and identity, the art of ruling without needing to dominate. And before this journey ends, you'll understand a truth that only the few truly live by. The greatest empire you'll ever build is the one within your own mind. Before we begin, write this in the comments below. I choose to seize my throne. It's not just a sentence, it's a declaration. You're telling your subconscious that you're ready to rule your own energy, your own destiny. And if you're ready for that kind of transformation, if you're tired of being silent in a world that rewards noise, then stay with me until the end. Because what you'll hear tonight is not motivation, it's revelation. A whisper from history itself telling you what Machiavelli never wrote, but always meant you already have the throne. You just haven't claimed it yet. Now, let's begin. 5 centuries ago, Florence was not just a city, it was a furnace. A crucible of power, betrayal, and brilliance. Every palace hid a plot, every handshake concealed a knife. And in the middle of that storm stood a man named Niccolò Machiavelli, a quiet observer of chaos, a scribe who saw the anatomy of power in its rawest form. While others bowed to princes, Machiavelli dissected them. He stripped leadership of its illusions and revealed the machinery beneath, the gears of fear, loyalty, deception, and ambition that truly move human affairs. His most famous work, The Prince, was not a manual for cruelty, as many believe. It was a mirror, a reflection of how the world really operates when the masks fall. He lived through exile, humiliation, and betrayal, yet he turned his suffering into insight. He realized that every human being, no matter how noble, hides a darker current, a desire to influence, to control, to survive. He saw that morality alone was not enough to build stability, and that goodness without wisdom is fragile. His writings were not about evil, they were about awareness. To Machiavelli, blindness to power was the greatest sin. For those who ignore the laws of power become slaves to them. But beneath the politics and the court intrigues, there was something deeper, something psychological. Machiavelli's genius was not only in observing rulers, it was in understanding the nature of the ruled. He knew that most people seek safety more than freedom, approval more than truth. And he understood that those who can see this pattern clearly can navigate it, rise above it, and bend it toward their purpose. To seize your own throne in his eyes meant to awaken to the forces that shape you from within and without, and to no longer be their prisoner. Philosophically, Machiavelli stood between two worlds, the fading ideals of medieval faith and the rising dawn of humanism. He dared to separate virtue from illusion, showing that strength without cruelty and compassion without weakness are both possible, but only for those who have confronted their inner shadow. Psychologically, his work anticipated what modern thinkers like Jung and Nietzsche would later echo, that power begins with self-knowledge, and that suppression of one's instincts only gives them control from the dark. Yet through the centuries, Machiavelli was misunderstood, branded as cynical, even demonic. But in truth, he was one of the rare souls who saw human nature without the veil of sentimentality. His words endure because they speak to an eternal tension inside each of us, the struggle between conscience and conquest, love and logic, heart and mind. And in that tension lies your throne. Because to rule wisely in a chaotic world, you must first accept that chaos exists within you. To lead, you must understand the animal, the strategist, and the spirit inside your own being. That is the essence of Machiavelli's dark strategy, and the foundation of all personal sovereignty. Every throne begins with an inner rebellion, a quiet moment when you look at the world and realize that everything you were told about obedience, humility, and fairness was designed to keep you small. Machiavelli saw that long before psychology gave it language. He wrote for those who sense that something in the way humanity is taught to live is fundamentally inverted, that we are trained to serve the illusion of harmony rather than the truth of mastery. To seize your own throne, you must begin by dismantling those illusions one by one. Because before you can rise above others, you must rise above the mental architecture that keeps you compliant. Let us begin with the first principle. See the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. Most people live in a dream built by hope. They mistake optimism for vision, and they confuse comfort with safety. Machiavelli warned that blindness disguised as goodness is the ruin of many. To lead yourself, you must learn to observe reality without the filter of desire. That means studying your environment, the people around you, and most importantly, your own reactions to them. Notice how often you idealize someone simply because you want their approval. Notice how your expectations color your perception. When you begin to see clearly, not emotionally, you reclaim your agency. Truth, even when cruel, is liberating, because power flows toward those who face what others avoid. The second principle: control perception before controlling action. Machiavelli understood that human beings rarely act from reason, they act from image. Every ruler, every influencer, every leader crafts a narrative. The wise do it consciously, the weak do it by accident. Your throne begins when you decide what story you will embody. Do not wait for others to define you. Decide the impression you project, your energy, your silence, your boundaries, because perception creates permission. People treat you according to the role they believe you occupy. If you do not seize control of that story, someone else will write it for you. Your environment will always conspire to categorize you. Your task is to remain unreadable, unpredictable, yet undeniable. Third principle: power is emotional neutrality. To Machiavelli, the ruler who cannot separate feeling from judgment is doomed. The moment anger, fear, or pride drives your decisions, you have surrendered your kingdom. Emotional detachment is not coldness, it is self-command. It allows you to respond strategically instead of react impulsively. Imagine your mind as a battlefield. When chaos strikes, your neutrality is the general that maintains order. To seize your own throne, practice the art of delay. Pause before speaking, breathe before replying, think before acting. The one who masters pause controls outcome. This discipline is rare because it is invisible. Yet it's what separates leaders from followers and builders from beggars. The fourth principle: never reveal your full strength. Machiavelli advised princes to hide their intentions until they can no longer be stopped. The same law applies to personal power. In a world addicted to oversharing, mystery has become the new dominance. When people can't predict you, they can't control you. Keep parts of your strategy concealed, your progress silent, and your emotions private. Your restraint will make others uneasy, and their unease becomes your advantage. Remember, visibility invites interference. Secrecy cultivates magnetism. The less you explain, the more they imagine. And imagination is always more powerful than proof. The fifth principle: create advantage through alignment, not aggression. Machiavelli observed that brute force rarely sustains power. What endures is alignment with the natural flow of events. In life, there are currents, social, emotional, economic, that guide outcomes. The wise ruler reads these currents and positions themselves accordingly. To seize your own throne means to stop fighting every storm and start navigating it. Adaptation is not submission. It is stealth. Those who insist on control are destroyed by what they cannot bend. Those who understand timing, patience, and rhythm rise effortlessly. Life rewards the strategist, not the struggler. Now pause for a moment. Ask yourself this: which of these principles do you resist the most? Is it seeing reality without illusion? Is it emotional detachment? Or the idea of holding your power in silence? Because where you feel resistance, there lies your weakness, and also your key. Comment below with the words, "My awareness is my weapon." This is your signal to your subconscious that you are no longer operating blindly. You are entering the realm of intentional power, where everything, your thoughts, your gestures, your stillness, becomes strategy. The sixth principle: make fear your mirror, not your master. Machiavelli never advised leaders to be cruel for pleasure. He taught them to use fear wisely. In you, fear is not an enemy, it's an indicator. It reveals what still owns you. To seize your own throne, you must learn to study your fears with the same curiosity you study your goals. Every fear hides an instruction. Are you afraid of rejection? Then you depend too much on approval. Are you afraid of failure? Then you worship perfection more than progress. Fear shows you where your attachments have imprisoned you. Face it without emotion and it becomes your teacher. Ignore it and it becomes your ruler. The seventh principle: decide then adapt. Many confuse power with stubbornness, but true power is fluid. Machiavelli believed that a ruler must be as adaptable as water, firm in intention, flexible in form. Once you make a decision, commit fully, yet stay alert to changing winds. This prevents paralysis by analysis, the endless waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only movement. A decision made in clarity is worth more than a plan perfected in fear. Every step forward, even imperfectly, reshapes the battlefield in your favor. The eighth principle: command through calm. Machiavelli understood that chaos creates rulers. When others panic, the calm individual naturally becomes the center of gravity. Your serenity is not weakness, it's gravitational power. When you can hold your composure while others collapse, people instinctively turn toward you. It is biology. The nervous system seeks stability. Become that stability. Speak less, move slower, and choose your words like a king signing a decree. Calmness is the highest currency of influence. The ninth principle: invest in perception of inevitability. People follow what feels destined. Machiavelli taught rulers to make their rise appear not as luck but as fate. You can do the same in your life. The more consistent you are in your path, the more others will believe in your direction. Confidence, repetition, and self-certainty create momentum. When you act as if success is inevitable, people unconsciously align with that story. They invest energy in your vision. Even obstacles begin to bend under the weight of your conviction. The 10th principle: never fight battles that do not serve your empire. Machiavelli's strategy was simple. Every war drains energy. Therefore, only engage in wars that multiply it. In daily life, that means not reacting to every insult, not arguing every misunderstanding, not chasing every distraction. Most people lose their power not through defeat, but through diffusion, scattering their focus in meaningless conflicts. To seize your own throne, you must learn selective war. Ask yourself before every confrontation: does this serve my empire or just my ego? If it is ego, walk away. Silence will win what shouting cannot. Machiavelli's dark strategy is not about domination, it is about order. Inner order, the ability to stand amidst chaos without losing form. It's not about oppressing others, but about ceasing to be oppressed by your own impulses. Every time you react instead of respond, you lose the crown. Every time you break your discipline for comfort, you step off the throne. But every moment you remain self-governing. Even in small choices, waking early, holding your word, refusing to gossip, you reinforce the architecture of your inner kingdom. So as we move deeper, understand this: the true throne is invisible. It exists not in how many obey you, but in how little you need from them. It exists not in external dominance, but in internal direction. Machiavelli simply gave language to what every awakened soul eventually discovers: the mind. When mastered, rules all. And now, as we approach the second half of his strategy, the question changes. Once you have built the inner kingdom, how do you keep it? How do you protect your sovereignty from the manipulations, seductions, and illusions that seek to reclaim it? Because power once tasted attracts both light and shadow. That's what we'll explore next. Once you've seized your throne, the real challenge begins, not in taking power, but in keeping it. Because the moment you rise, the world tests you. It sends distractions disguised as opportunities, friends who turn into spies, and comfort that corrodes your edge. Machiavelli wrote not only for those who wished to ascend, but for those who had already reached the summit and didn't know how to stay there. He knew that the higher you climb, the more subtle the threats become. Enemies are no longer external. They are internal. Vanity, complacency, guilt, and the seductive call of peace before the work is done. The first hidden law: never let success soften you. The crown is heaviest when you start enjoying it. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the vigilant but punishes the satisfied. When people taste success, they often confuse victory with safety, and that is when they lose everything. In your personal life, the same pattern applies. The moment you stop refining your discipline, stop questioning your comfort, or stop learning from failure, you begin to decay. The throne is not a seat, it's a test. Every day it asks, will you still choose strength when weakness is easier? Greatness demands eternal renewal. You must treat yourself as both king and soldier, commanding yet constantly training. The second hidden law: influence through silence, not argument. Machiavelli saw how words create resistance. The more you explain, the less they believe. The more you defend yourself, the weaker you appear. Silence, however, has gravity. It pulls respect without asking. When you withhold explanation, people project depth upon you. They imagine your reasons, your plans, your motives, and imagination always amplifies your power. In a world obsessed with expression, restraint becomes sacred. Every silence you hold is a throne room within yourself. Speak less and let your presence do the convincing. The third hidden law: control through contrast. Machiavelli advised princes to appear merciful after being feared, generous after being firm. He understood that power thrives in contrast. Too much softness breeds contempt. Too much harshness breeds rebellion. But the alternation of both creates awe. In your life, this means balancing polarities: kindness and strength, patience and urgency, warmth and distance. Be unpredictable but intentional. People trust stability, but they respect mystery. Let them see enough humanity to relate, but enough distance to revere. The fourth hidden law: weaponize time. To Machiavelli, time was the most strategic resource of all. He believed that patience is not waiting, it is positioning. Most people rush to prove themselves, acting out of insecurity, wasting their advantage. The wise ruler acts only when time has been conditioned to obey. To seize and hold your throne, stop reacting to pressure. Let others reveal their weakness through haste. While they exhaust themselves, you conserve energy. The one who waits while the world moves blindly gains the clearest view. Power, like a seed, grows silently before it blooms publicly. The fifth hidden law: never appear to want what you truly desire. This is one of Machiavelli's most paradoxical insights. Desire exposed becomes a weapon against you. When people know what you crave, validation, attention, love, they can manipulate you. But when you act detached, uninterested, sovereign, you reverse the power dynamic. The less you chase, the more you attract. This is not pretense, it's protection. Detachment allows you to pursue your purpose without dependence. So learn to move as if you already have what you seek. In that illusion, others will feel your inevitability and align to it. Pause here for a moment, reflect. Which of these truths feels the hardest to accept? Is it that silence influences more than words? That detachment creates attraction? Or that you must always remain alert even in peace? Write in the comments. My calm is my control. Because in the modern world, calmness is rebellion. The world feeds on noise and chaos. When you remain still and self-directed, you disrupt the entire system. The sixth hidden law: power must always serve purpose, not ego. Machiavelli knew the difference between rulers and tyrants. The ruler uses power as a tool. The tyrant uses it as a mirror. Ego seeks validation. Purpose seeks creation. Once you've seized your throne, the danger is to use it to glorify yourself instead of to fulfill your destiny. Every time you make a decision to prove something rather than to build something, you lose alignment. The throne corrupts those who forget why they claimed it. Anchor your actions to purpose, to something greater than approval. Because when power serves ego, it consumes the soul. When it serves vision, it expands it. The seventh hidden law: loyalty must be observed, not declared. Machiavelli taught that promises mean nothing without consistency. He wrote that a wise ruler judges loyalty by behavior, not by words. Apply this within and without. Watch how people act when you have nothing to offer them. Watch how you act when no one is watching. That's your true court. Loyalty is not in oaths, it's in patterns. Protect yourself from the illusion of spoken devotion. Let time reveal truth, for time never lies. The eighth hidden law: prepare for betrayal without becoming bitter. Machiavelli saw betrayal as inevitable, a law of human nature. But the enlightened ruler sees betrayal as data, not destruction. When others turn against you, they expose what was hidden. They reveal the limits of their understanding, the boundaries of their fear. Do not curse them, study them. Every betrayal teaches you where your naivety still lived. Forgiveness does not mean forgetfulness. It means releasing emotional poison while integrating the lesson. Never let betrayal make you cynical. Let it make you precise. The ninth hidden law: protect your solitude like treasure. After power, solitude is the first luxury. In silence, your clarity matures. Machiavelli often retreated to his study, surrounded by books and shadows, to think without interference. He understood that solitude sharpens strategy. Today, solitude has become rare and therefore sacred. You cannot think deeply when you are constantly observed. You cannot lead if you are always reacting. So schedule solitude as you would a royal audience. Withdraw regularly into yourself, not to escape, but to recalibrate. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the counsel of kings. The 10th hidden law: become your own judge. Machiavelli warned rulers against the illusion of external validation. When everyone flatters you, you lose sight of truth. Likewise, when everyone criticizes you, you may still be right. Therefore, you must become your own moral and strategic compass. Measure yourself not by applause, but by alignment. At the end of every day, ask, did my actions serve my purpose? If yes, remain unmoved by opinion. If not, adjust quietly. This inner court, where you judge yourself honestly, is what keeps the throne stable when storms rage outside. There is a paradox in Machiavelli's teachings. Though they are called dark, they illuminate freedom. Because darkness is not evil, it is clarity without illusion. It is vision without denial. The darkness Machiavelli spoke of is the honesty to see humanity as it truly is, and to navigate it consciously rather than be devoured by it. To seize your throne is not to become heartless, but to love more wisely. Not to dominate, but to direct. Not to manipulate, but to master perception and timing in harmony with reality itself. And here lies the hidden truth Machiavelli never said aloud, but lived through his exile. The throne you build within cannot be taken by any man. Kings lose kingdoms, rulers lose cities, but the sovereign of self remains unshaken. Power, when grounded in awareness, cannot be stolen. It can only be forgotten. So the question is not whether you can rise, it's whether you can stay awake once you do. Can you guard your throne without letting your crown blind you? Can you command yourself in times of silence as well as in times of war? Because Machiavelli's strategy was never merely political, it was psychological warfare turned inward. The battlefield is not Florence. It's your mind. The next step is where the art becomes life. How to apply these dark strategies, ethically, intelligently, and consciously, to your modern existence. How to turn Machiavelli's ancient power into your daily sovereignty. Because theory without embodiment is illusion, and Machiavelli never wrote for dreamers, he wrote for doers. You have learned the philosophy. You have studied the strategy. But now comes the hardest part: embodiment. The throne cannot exist only in thought. It must be lived through action. Power is not theory, it is repetition. Machiavelli's wisdom becomes useless if it remains in books. It must move through your breath, your decisions, your silence. To seize your own throne in the modern world, you must transform these ancient principles into habits of perception and conduct. You are not merely to understand Machiavelli. You are to become what he saw. Let us begin with the first act of embodiment. Observe without reacting. Every day, countless stimuli fight for your attention. Opinions, algorithms, crises, temptations, they all compete to dictate your mood and steal your focus. The untrained mind reacts to everything, but the sovereign mind responds to nothing until it has chosen its stance. Machiavelli understood that chaos manipulates the weak, while silence fortifies the wise. Practice this. The next time someone provokes you, pause. Count to 5 before replying. Watch the rise of emotion as if it belonged to someone else. This act alone rewires your nervous system. It turns reaction into observation, and observation into control. This is how modern rulers begin their reign, by mastering their first territory, their attention. Second practice, create your daily court of discipline. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must maintain order within his city before ruling others. Your city is your routine. You cannot expect to command your destiny if you cannot command your mornings. Structure breeds strength. Choose a morning ritual that builds clarity, whether it's meditation, journaling, reading, or simple silence. Each morning reaffirm your sovereignty. I am the architect of my state of mind. This repetition trains your subconscious to obey you. Over time, this becomes your invisible armor. No matter what chaos arises, your order remains intact. Third practice, speak less, move strategically. Modern society celebrates noise, but noise is how the masses signal insecurity. The powerful operate in quiet precision. Before you speak, ask yourself, does this serve my purpose or my ego? Most conversations are traps. People provoke you to reveal your energy, your plans, your emotions. Practice discretion as a sacred art. Every sentence should have weight, every word intentional. Imagine that every statement is a decree from your inner throne. You will notice how people start listening differently. Respect begins where excess ends. Fourth practice, the art of emotional alchemy. Machiavelli knew that anger, fear, and disappointment are not weaknesses. They are energy. Your task is to refine that energy instead of releasing it wastefully. When frustration rises, channel it into movement. Create, train, build. When jealousy stirs, study it. It reveals what you truly desire but have not yet pursued. When sadness lingers, descend into it consciously. It deepens empathy and insight. The ruler does not suppress emotion. He repurposes it. This is emotional alchemy, turning chaos into focus, pain into strategy. Fifth practice, invisible ambition. Modern culture glorifies display, posting every victory, announcing every goal. Machiavelli would laugh at this weakness. He taught that the most effective power is unseen until it strikes. Practice invisibility. Build quietly. Work in the dark while the world chases light. Let your results speak like thunder after silence. People cannot attack what they cannot predict. There is immense freedom in secrecy. It protects your momentum from jealousy and your progress from sabotage. Those who announce too early invite interference. Those who wait command the stage. Pause here and write in the comments. My silence builds empires. Because from this moment on, your silence is not passivity. It is precision. You are no longer living reactively. You are strategizing consciously. Sixth practice, identify your emotional currency. Every person trades in something: attention, love, validation, control. To seize your throne, you must know what your currency is. What emotion manipulates you most easily? When someone withdraws affection, do you crumble? When you are ignored, do you chase validation? Study your emotional economy. Awareness is power. Once you know what can buy you, no one can own you. Replace emotional need with internal stability. You will feel your sovereignty return. Seventh practice, master the art of detachment. Detachment is not indifference, it's independence. It's the ability to care deeply without being controlled by the outcome. Machiavelli observed that those who attach their happiness to results become puppets of fate. Detachment lets you act fully, yet remain unbroken when results differ from expectation. To practice detachment, repeat silently during challenges. This too belongs to my training. Whether success or failure, praise or rejection, everything becomes material for mastery. The ruler of self sees no loss, only lessons. Eighth practice, learn the rhythm of power. Machiavelli compared fortune to a river. It floods those who build no barriers. Likewise, life moves in cycles of energy, expansion and retreat, dominance and reflection. Many fail because they act out of season. There are times to strike and times to stay still. Power grows when you align with rhythm. Watch your energy patterns, your most creative hours, your moments of clarity, your phases of silence. Schedule your battles when your energy peaks. Withdraw when it wanes. The world rewards those who move with their natural current. Ninth practice, purify your environment. Machiavelli warned rulers against weak allies. Similarly, your surroundings must reflect your purpose. Chaos outside creates chaos inside. Declutter your space, limit your digital noise, and surround yourself with people who elevate your focus, not drain it. A sovereign cannot rule among distractions. Every object, every relationship, every conversation must serve the empire you are building. When you curate your environment consciously, your mind becomes sharper, your will more precise. 10th practice, make solitude a ritual, not an accident. Solitude is where your power regenerates. The world confuses connection with validation, but the ruler's mind matures in silence. Take time each week to withdraw completely. No phone, no noise, no expectation. Sit with yourself until your thoughts slow enough to reveal your truth. This is where clarity is born. In solitude, you hear the echo of your inner ruler. Machiavelli himself would retreat to his library, conversing silently with the ancients. You must do the same, not to escape humanity, but to return wiser. The 11th practice, reshape failure into refinement. Failure is inevitable, but Machiavelli believed that fortune tests the worthy. Each fall is a stress test for your discipline. When something collapses, don't pity yourself. Study it like a scientist. What assumption failed? What emotion overpowered logic? Failure exposes structural weakness. Rebuild stronger each time. The one who learns faster than they fall becomes untouchable. Eventually, failure ceases to be punishment. It becomes prophecy. 12th practice. Write your own law. Every ruler has a code. Without it, temptation dictates behavior. Craft your personal constitution. 3 to 5 unbreakable rules that define your integrity. For example, I never act from revenge. I always finish what I begin. I guard my time like treasure. These rules become your compass in moral fog. They turn chaos into order. The mind without law becomes a democracy of impulses, noisy, weak, unstable. The mind ruled by clear law becomes a monarchy, unified, focused, sovereign. 13th practice. Use reward and restraint wisely. Machiavelli advised rulers to alternate reward and punishment to sustain loyalty. Apply this internally. Reward yourself for discipline, not indulgence. Allow rest after effort, not before. This trains the brain to associate pleasure with progress. When you control your system of reward, you reshape your motivation from dependency to mastery. Self-governance is the highest form of power because it frees you from external manipulation. 14th practice. Embrace uncertainty as territory, not threat. Machiavelli lived in a world where politics shifted daily, alliances broke overnight. He learned that uncertainty destroys only those who expect comfort. To seize your throne, you must learn to hunt within uncertainty. Each unknown is a frontier for innovation. Those who dare to think amid confusion create clarity for others, and clarity is command. When life feels unstable, remind yourself, instability is the birthplace of empires. 15th practice. Act from principle, not pressure. Modern rulers are not kings. They are creators, entrepreneurs, thinkers, parents, artists. But they face the same test. Can you stay loyal to your principles when the crowd demands your conformity? Machiavelli's strength was his ability to see through social theater. He knew that morality built on appearance collapses under stress. Build your ethics from insight, not imitation. When your values are self-chosen, they become unbreakable. Every compromise weakens your throne. Every alignment with your truth strengthens it. Pause here again. Reflect deeply. Which of these practices feels most urgent for your life right now? Comment it below and write, "My throne begins within." This isn't just engagement, it's programming. Every time you write it, your subconscious kneels to your intention. 16th practice. Remember the sacred law of discretion. Machiavelli taught that the ruler who exposes too much becomes predictable, and predictability invites manipulation. Protect your long-term vision with silence. The more others know, the more they can distort. In the age of oversharing, privacy is the last fortress of sovereignty. Tell less, build more. Reveal only what amplifies momentum, never what invites interference. 17th practice. Let your presence speak before your words. Every ruler emits energy. People feel your conviction before they hear your logic. Strength has a frequency. It's transmitted through posture, tone, stillness, and gaze. Train your presence daily. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move deliberately. Even in silence, communicate certainty. Presence is your invisible crown. 18th practice. Lead without seeking followers. Machiavelli's rulers were often feared, but the most effective were respected. You do not need to dominate to lead. You need to embody clarity so profound that others instinctively align. Leadership is not force, it is frequency. The more coherent your actions, the more naturally others will orbit your energy. True power does not chase attention, it magnetizes it. 19th practice. Transmute pain into purpose. The world will wound you. Betrayal, loss, rejection, each will test your throne. But suffering without transformation is waste. When pain visits, ask, what wisdom does this require of me? Pain is the forge of sovereignty. Every scar is proof that you have survived the war within. Do not hide your wounds. Refine them into wisdom. Those who run from pain remain servants of comfort. Those who embrace it become kings of meaning. 20th practice. Integrate strategy with soul. Machiavelli's mind was razor sharp, but his greatest lesson is balance. Strategy without soul becomes tyranny. Soul without strategy becomes impotence. To seize your throne fully, you must blend intellect with heart, cold reason guided by inner light. This synthesis creates what the ancients called noble power, strength in service of higher harmony. The ultimate Machiavellian is not the manipulator. It is the master of both reason and compassion. The path of sovereignty is long, but the beginning is simple: awareness, discipline, and detachment. The more you live these laws, the more reality begins to rearrange itself around you. People will sense your composure, your mystery, your authority, and respond differently. Opportunities will align, chaos will slow, and your presence will shape the unseen order of events. You will no longer chase power. You will radiate it. And that is the true essence of Machiavelli's dark strategy: to rule not by domination, but by direction, to influence not by command, but by clarity, to reign not over others, but over the storm within. When you reach the summit of your own mind, you begin to understand what Machiavelli truly meant by sovereignty. It was never about crowns or subjects or even political conquest. It was about order. The world outside will always be unpredictable, unstable, driven by the chaos of others' desires. But the kingdom within you can become unshakable. You are not meant to live as a servant of emotion or as a victim of chance. You are meant to reign calmly, quietly, invisibly over your own existence. The throne you seize is not made of gold. It is carved from discipline, awareness, and unbreakable self-command. Every ruler begins as a wanderer. You have wandered through confusion, doubt, fear, and longing. The world has tried to convince you that you need permission to rise, that someone must anoint you, choose you, approve of you. But Machiavelli whispers from the centuries, no one is coming to crown you. The crown is forged by your own fire. The moment you stop waiting for recognition, you begin to rule. Power starts in refusal. The refusal to be distracted, to be manipulated, to be small. In that refusal, you find peace, because peace is not submission, it is strategy. To live this truth is to stand apart from the noise of the age. The modern world glorifies reaction. It teaches you to respond instantly, to prove yourself publicly, to exist through validation. But rulers do not rush. They observe, they measure, they act only when it matters. You must learn to walk in the world as if time bends around your patience. To master the art of delayed reaction is to master your destiny. Every second you wait with awareness adds weight to your actions. Impulsiveness drains energy. Precision multiplies it. Understand this. True strength is silent. It does not announce itself. It does not need applause. Machiavelli's most misunderstood lesson is that power that must be declared is already fading. Real power is presence. It is the kind of stillness that unnerves those who rely on chaos to feel alive. When you can look at conflict, temptation, or deceit and remain unmoved, you have become the rarest kind of ruler, the one who governs without needing to dominate. You command reality by mastering perception, your own and others. But this journey will not make you popular. Machiavelli knew that truth isolates before it elevates. People fear what they cannot control, and they will sense your detachment as distance. They will misinterpret your calm as arrogance, your silence as weakness, your boundaries as hostility. Yet you must not explain yourself. Let them misunderstand. Your clarity does not require consensus. The throne is a solitary seat. Only those who have faced themselves can sit there. And if you must walk alone to preserve your integrity, then your solitude is proof that you are still on the path. There will be moments when doubt returns, when you wonder if your restraint is worth it, if your silence has meaning, if your discipline has purpose. In those moments, remember this: every kingdom that has ever fallen was destroyed not by external enemies, but by internal disorder. The same law governs you. When you lose order, you lose authority. When you lose awareness, you become prey to your own instincts. But when you remain composed, the storms that break others become the wind that lifts you higher. Think of your mind as a council. Inside you, different voices compete for influence: fear, ego, desire, memory, faith. Most people let these voices argue endlessly. The sovereign listens, then decides. That decision made in clarity is the moment of creation. Every time you choose awareness over impulse, you strengthen the kingdom. Every time you act from wisdom instead of emotion, you build invisible walls of protection around your peace. Over time, your life itself becomes your fortress, not because you are closed off, but because you are unshakably open to truth. Machiavelli's dark strategy was not about cruelty. It was about lucidity. He stripped away illusions so that truth could stand naked. And truth once seen cannot be unseen. Once you understand how power operates, within yourself, within others, you can never again pretend to be powerless. That is why his philosophy feels dangerous, because it forces responsibility. You can no longer blame the system, fate, or other people. You become the architect of every consequence. It is a heavy realization, but also the most liberating one. Because once you claim responsibility for everything, no one can control you again. Your throne is your awareness. Guard it. Polish it daily through reflection, restraint, and silence. Do not waste energy defending it. Use that energy to deepen it. A true ruler does not shout commands, they emanate certainty. You will know you found your sovereignty when you no longer need to prove it. Your actions will speak, your presence will lead, and your peace will intimidate the unprepared. And so as this reflection ends, the challenge begins. Do not let this wisdom remain abstract. Live it. Make every decision an act of rulership. Every silence a declaration of mastery. Every boundary a law of your inner empire. The world will continue to test you, to tempt you with distraction, to provoke you with drama, to pull you into noise. But each test is simply a mirror, asking, are you still on your throne? If you've watched until this point, it means something inside you is awakening. You are remembering your nature, not the version shaped by fear or comparison, but the one that has always been royal, ancient, quiet, and decisive. You are not becoming powerful. You are remembering that you already are. Before you leave, write in the comments, my throne cannot be taken, because it's true. Once the throne is within, no force on earth can remove it. No rejection, no betrayal, no loss. The throne of awareness, discipline, and silence belongs only to you. And if this journey spoke to your spirit, stay close. Subscribe, like, and share this message so that others who are ready may find it. Because the age of powerless living is ending. A new generation of sovereign minds is rising. Those who no longer seek control over others, but mastery over themselves. You are one of them. Now go and reign, not with noise, but with knowing. Not with fear, but with focus. For this is what Machiavelli truly meant by strategy. To live as though you were already the ruler of your destiny. You are.